So we have a seeded crew from Germany against Leander Club B. Leander on the left of your screen and the German crew on the right of your screen.
As they explode off the start down the island, you can see there's some really nice conditions now for the first 200-300 metres of the course. It's amazing to watch them go off and start like that, really driving away really quick. The energy, the kind of dynamism of a quad exploding at the start.
Yes, and they get a bit of protection along the island. Some blustery gusts are waiting for them further down there, and you can see the poppy water in the background there as we get an up-close view with the crew from Germany.
Yes, they're about to get into the slightly bubbly water now. It's coming into an hour. It's been to see how the two crews cope. They're quite close together. They both come into the water in the middle of the course. Everything can stay apart.
So now we see immediately out from the island, here comes the wind. You can see it in the hair blustering, and the athletes will feel it now. It is gusting, partly cross head, and this is a real test of their technical skills, their resilience. You're going to have some wobbly strokes, and you've got to just make sure the next one's right on it again. At the moment we can see the German crew, and it's a under-23 crew, development pathway crew, and they are edging ahead.
Yeah, there's the camera slightly behind, so there's a bit of parallax, but they have got a little bit of a lead, I think. They just managed to cope those maybe 10 or 15 strokes at the top of the island where the wind hit them, and also the stream hits them too, because the stream peels around on the other side of the island, so it can be a really challenging part of the course to navigate down. It's very unforgiving, obviously, because you've got booms all the way down, so these wooden booms, so particularly on coxless boats, very hard to navigate. Although the Leander crew have the advantage, obviously, it's their home water, so they'll have been practicing on here for a long time.
And what's that mean, to have that advantage, to know that this is home water? How's that going to play out at the moment inside their heads in the way they're rowing?
Just, I guess it gives you, everything's about confidence, isn't it? Kind of with your technique, you're confident in yourself and your crew, but that excellent edge is knowing the course, knowing where you're going to put your pushes in, knowing where maybe the wind often hits.
Exactly, on the race plan they'll know exactly where it's coming up to. They'll have a really clear race plan they'll have been executing over and over again, and it's looking really resilient, isn't it, there? Here we can see the blades from the crew from Hamburg and Lübeck. You can see a little bit, they're getting blood, they're not quite as even because they will be lifted by the wind. The wind can get underneath them. It's really hard to have them as synchronous as you would when it's a kind of still day.
But I think this crew, the Hamburg and Lübeck crew, they're taking one or two strokes less a minute. They've got a longer stroke. I think that, at the moment, is the better way to go about it. It just seems a little bit more composed. It'll be interesting to see when we get a close side-by-side crew where we are. And they look absolutely neck and neck.
So I think Leander B crew, coached by Ross Hunter, yeah, they'll know they've got to be pretty feisty. They've got to be really attacking in order to stay with what is a crew of really promising young athletes with international under-19 and under-23 experience from Germany. So this Leander crew are trying to use the home advantage, stay really punchy. Can they keep pressuring the Germans and then use that home advantage? That's exactly what they're doing now. So we're coming up to that kind of middle of the course, where again Leander will know where they are. They'll know if you're with them, that's a great place to be. And now we're going to have a big push through Remnant.
And you can see in the shot the wind effect is starting to ripple. This is this really windy part of the course, the next maybe 30, 40 strokes. So we'll see who can manage that best. I think we'll actually decide the actual outcome.
And of course it's great experience. These are young athletes in the German crew. They are on the pathway to LA. There's probably some athletes in that Leander Club who'd like to be on that pathway as well. So this is where they get experience of racing in all conditions. We're always told you don't know what it's going to be like on the day of the Olympic final. You have to be able to cope with all of the conditions. And these Leander athletes will have experienced these very conditions in winter training along here. And that is really helping them because their technique is holding up. There we can see the pink blades of Leander. What's going on there?
Well, you absolutely nailed it. Tricky conditions today. You can see the flags, the red flags in the background there fluttering away, and you've got the pledge craft going up and down, so the wash. And that last 20 strokes, that experience, I think, if you look at this photo, there's a bit of parallax error, but I think they've got a little bit of a lead here as we come down. It's still very, very close, and we're only just through halfway. I
think they have. It feels to me that they're getting punchier and punchier now, and they're getting the feedback for it. And the Leander crew have got Sophie Gray at bow, Anna Cowell at 2, Frances Hunt-Davis at 3, Flynn Green at stroke, and they are saying this is our home water, and they're their punches, their strokes, their pushes are working, and of course then the momentum swings over to you, and suddenly there's some more tension creeping in to the German crew of Lena Siekerkotter, Lisa Behrens, Sandrine Bartos and Lina Götze. They have a lot of experience internationally, but there's nothing quite like racing at Henley.
You can see that Leander crew, this side-by-side shot's brilliant to see the Leander crew just slightly more aggressive, slightly more punchy, and they've got seem to have a little bit more fight, don't they? But the contrast with the Hamburger and Lübecker crew, that slightly longer stroke, we'll see which is the more effective as we come through. There's probably the second part of the course is again more exposed before we get to the enclosure, so we'll see who navigates that bit best.
So just slightly drifted out into the centre, and so very small adjustment there from the German crew. They are both steered by their bow person, which is Lena Siekerkotter for the Germans and Sophie Gray. In the previous race it was the strokes who were steering, but here we've got both the bow girls, and that's a challenge in these conditions where you can just get pushed across with a wave, you can just catch it unevenly. If your balance goes, again, sometimes that will just nudge you off going straight down the course. And in this shot you can see that actually the Leander crew is coming straight, and there's a little bit more sideways movement happening for the Germans, and that means that all of the effort isn't just going into going straight down the course, it's kind of pushing you sideways a bit. So a closer look here of Leander.
And that last shot where the wind was coming across from left to right, the blade work on the Leander crew is a little bit more synchronised. They seem to be less affected by the wind and the bobbly water, and still slightly more aggressive, an extra 1 or 2 strokes. I was looking at the ratings, an extra 1 or 2 strokes a minute. And I think then slowly drawing ahead to a lead, although it's hard to say at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, they've also had to steer out away from the booms. It is so tricky to manage the wind, the booms, the steering, and all of the kind of unpredictability that comes in these conditions. But they are looking just confident because what they're doing is working. Their pushes have worked. And so then if you're ahead and you have a wobbly stroke, it doesn't put you off as much. Whereas when you're down and you have a wobbly stroke, suddenly, more tension comes in. So they are asking big questions of the Germans, and it is now time. How can they respond?
They've got to. And also that particular part of the course looking at now is the quiet part of the course. There's no tents, there's no marquees, there's no clubs there, and Leander will know this is the bit that often crews that aren't used to the course can just lose a little bit of an edge, and you'll see the local crews attacking down this bit, and then they're into the enclosures, and then they'll have all that local support to spur them on as they come down to the last 200 metres.
So they are attacking in that Leander crew. They're getting more and more with each stroke. Their tails are up. They can feel it. They can sense it. Their race plan has worked for them, and it feels that they're creeping ahead. So now the questions for the Germans are, we want to be in LA. We want to be in Los Angeles in 2028. We've got to do some tough stuff to get there. Can we do something today at Henley Royal Regatta that will help us on our Olympic pathway? Can we find something? Can we pull something together? But it's a dominant crew from Leander coming up past the progress board.
Confidence is the word used earlier, and you've absolutely nailed it. This is a strong, punchy, confident crew.
So Ross Hunter will be very, very pleased as Leander Club B approach the line and cross, winning this heat of the Princess Grace Challenge Cup and beating the Hamburger und Germania Club und Lübecker Rudergesellschaften 1885. And a huge, huge thank you to Jim Harlow. It's been brilliant having you with us, and we are now going to be joined by Cam Nicol, a University of London rower, a British World Championship medalist in the men's 8 in 2010 and 2011, part of the Olympic team in 20